Good morning.
Good morning.
It is certainly my pleasure to be here again and to serve you and to serve Spirit. And today I'm going to speak on, am I a spiritualist? And along with that, we will have a little history, and we'll also have a little something to take home that we can live by and work on in our own lives. You know, many of you that know me and have been around a while know that I have been called a maverick, and I take that term with honor. And lately, there is some spirit entity that is setting a fire under me. And so the maverick is getting a little bit louder. So please listen intently, because you may not hear this again. You know, we live in the same old world we have always lived in. However, it's different today than it was. With every generation come new changes. Old things are washed away. You know, we used to churn butter. We still like butter, but we don't churn it anymore. We don't ride around in horse and buggies. We prefer the automobile, the airplane, and the train. And we don't take that long distance trek in the rain to the outhouse. We have the comforts of home. But today, I'd like to consider spiritualism and the spiritualists. And I would like to look at the religious side of the world today, as we find many changes in all religions. Many have changed their policies, but they haven't changed their title. And likewise with spiritualism. But you know, in our movement, there is room for adjustment. There is room for growth. There is room for change. We as spiritualists do understand that we are in a process of evolution. And as we grow, we become more spiritually oriented. So I'd like to start by looking at where we are and where we were. And if we go to the era between 1852 and 1892, we find that many groups tried to organize, tried to come together as one unit, and yet they failed consistently. Why? Because some wanted simply power. Others wanted control. And then there was the gender who thought the female was unqualified to lead. Yet these same people called themselves free thinkers. Were they really? Are we today? The question remains, were they behaving as spiritualists? It appears that those in that era didn't always walk the walk, and unfortunately we follow that sometimes today. We talk. But it's important, if spiritualism is to grow, each of us must live the philosophy in our daily lives. We must teach them by showing them. That is the best method to raise any organization. This group of people went along pretty well until the 1920s, and that's when things began to change. Was it good? Well, let's see what you think. Again, in that decade, it was a power play. It was who could be in charge? Who could be the lead? They wanted things their way. We have learned from them that didn't work. And so today, we as spiritualists are trying more and more to be open-minded, to be loving, to be kind, to not think of the personalities, but to think of the whole, because that is where we grow. This same group of people through that age came together, and it was them that formed the umbrella, which was the NSA, of which we are now the remnant. But in 1920, it started on its downslide. Just what really happened? The main thing was people were unhappy. And we know that happiness promotes growth. And so we have to look at this and say, why were they unhappy? Well, remember now, they came as a group to form under this big umbrella so spiritualism could be united and have the number required to file as a religion. And while they came together, and while they did this for several years, in the mid-20s came the factions. And those people who were not allowed to practice reincarnation left. Those people who could not promote Jesus as the Christ left. Those people who thought we were not giving enough attention to the Holy Bible left. And so we again find that we are scattered. We are like the early tribes in the Bible. And today we remain scattered. And the oneness is unity is what we need. So what happened to free thinking? We then go into the era of 1930 through 1961. And that umbrella continued to function as the NSA. But again, some change took place. Not by those in charge, not by those who were the leaders, but by the District of Columbia law. Washington, D.C. in 1960 sent a letter to the NSAC that stated that in order to remain under the religious paragraph of the law, the word church must be added to the title. And so we became the National Spiritualist Association of Churches. That's how it happened. What did that mean? It caused confusion at that time, and it's still causing confusion today. And this is why I like to bring these things out, so that we can clear up those things that we misunderstand. You see, it didn't mean that the NSAC was taking over. It didn't mean that they were trying to run the whole show. What it meant was that the church would be, as the law required, to put the word subordinate to the NSAC. It didn't mean taking control. It simply meant that everyone who joined this organization was under the title and under and protected by the law of the District of Columbia.